Local dailies, big headlines this morning. We start off with the People Daily. They talk about the shame of beggar doctors. I'm sure Andy must have read this story. Inasema nini?
Unpaid dues, wanafanya kazi bila malipo. The state of the hospitals where they're working rather are very, very terrible. Wanasema slave labor. Trainee doctors work long hours without pay, and this is a special feature of a certain doctor there. And they say many have made a personal commitment to their profession, but the reality is harsher than they had anticipated. Basically, these guys want a shindanga strike. Every month, they want to be, sana the UHC doctors, I guess they're also under this cadre. They want to be put under permanent and pensionable terms. You know, they've been working for 5 years since the COVID-19 period, but under contract. So that is why they keep on going to the streets. So the shame of beggar doctors.
The sad state of affairs, because being a doctor was always prestigious. Ukisema rafiki yangu ni daktari.
Lakini anafanya maandamano daily.
Sio vizuri.
State eats humble pie on acres of war. This is the story that story ya Butere girls ile allegedly ilikuwa imepigwa marufuku na State House.
Has it made it to the finals, the nationals level?
It did.
Yes, because the national level, national film and drama festival kicks off today.
Was it not yesterday? Okay.
Yeah, it's it started either way. Look at most of the dailies.
Yeah.
The inside pages with our drama festival on page 3. National Drama and Film Festival begins. Yes.
So State eats humble pie on acres of war. This is the story written by Cleophas Malala. It's about June 2024 on the finance bill. Other stories here, MPs want, did I just say on the finance bill? The protest on the finance bill. MPs want KEBS boss sacked over 420 million shillings deal, and Timberoa's effort to recover from poll violence. That story is on page 3 of the People Daily.
All right, let's move on now to the Star. And unfortunately, we still don't have a physical copy. Shake up phase 2. They say Parastatals envoys next targets in Ruto-Raila deal. The president appears to be done with cabinet appointments. Now he's moving to Parastatals. PSS walimaliza, with ODM getting about 14 slots. Now Parastatal heads, mambo ngumu na ambassadors, heads of missions representing Kenya. That story is on pages 4 and 5 of this paper. Remember, today being a Tuesday, this paper is not for sale, and it comes with a complimentary copy of MyGov for government tenders and job opportunities. You can actually grab yourself a copy of the Star. Other quick highlights on the front page: how weak laws are fanning lynching of old people in Kenya. That's a story on page 2. Women dare to dream, turn aloe vera into a thriving enterprise. Pale juu must go politics, Mount Kenya's history of rejecting presidents. That's the Star today, fresh, independent, and different. The big one.
The Standard, the Bombshell. Revelations as former deputy president has come out, swinging against President Ruto, and Gachagua exposes a festering rift over shady state appointments and rampant corruption, alleging that Ruto has turned the presidency into his personal ATM, even as he causes up to shadowy global players and the notorious Sudan's RSF and M23 in the DR Congo in gold smuggling deals, as well as a hidden partnership with Kosovo. The bombshell, kweli kweli. Gachagua was speaking yesterday in KTN. What he said, Itumbi is the person who directs ministers on what to say in public, and he also tried to control my messaging, but I refused. The president is only advancing his commercial interests using the presidency, which risks making Kenya a pariah state. The president is also involved in business dealings with the RSF leadership, and I can confirm that he has held meetings with M23 officials. At one point, I had allowed Kibet to manage my diary, but I later realized that he was demanding money from people who wanted to meet with me, and the president told me he had no issue with Farouk making some money, but I stood my ground and refused to be instructed.
He has no issue with Farouk making some money. Underlying.
I had pleaded with the president to retain some of the principal secretaries from the previous administration, especially from the Mount Kenya region and Rift Valley. More on page 4 of this newspaper. Amemwaya mtama kweli kweli, kuku wanakula.
Na hiyo page 3 tulikuwa tunasema kuna maneno hapo ya page 2. Drama and Film Festival boldly explores dark truths of society, and they have some nice pictorials. The 63rd edition of the Kenya National Drama Festival, Kenya National Drama and Film Festival, kicked off in Nakuru yesterday with a range of powerful performances addressing pressing societal issues. Can you imagine just how Nakuru is feeling now with dramas? I tell you, the Drama Festival, if at all you're a fan of the Drama Festival,
Hata nasikia niende.
Head to Nakuru, yes. So that's a Standard. On the back page of the Standard matters football. Yes, I almost forgot. Today, the big one. Champions League. Arsenal will be hosting Real Madrid for the UEFA Champions League match, quarter-final match, and Bayern Munich will be hosting Inter Milan. Arteta backs Saka to tilt balance in Real Madrid tie. Watu wa timu ndogo ndogo huko nasikia wanataka futa back route ya kupitia Europa, inaitwa Europa League. Ndio waone kama watafika UEFA League. Una shida kweli. Matters business, Treasury seeks identity of crypto owners in new bill. The state moves to rein in tax cheats and hackers. Entities face penalties of up to 10 million shillings for non-compliance. So the Treasury will compel virtual currency exchanges and wallet providers to disclose cryptocurrency owners if MPs approve fresh changes to the law that seeks to rein in tax cheats and criminals and hackers. The Virtual Assets Service Providers Bill of 2025 demands that the exchanges and wallet providers like Ledger and Trezor must end anonymity on the faces behind crypto under their watch. Lakini hao MPs ndio wao pengine wako na hizi interest. Tunafikiria watapitisha hii maneno? Well, ngoja tuone. Global markets turmoil hits NSE after Trump tariffs shock. So the resultant effects of the US tariffs on global imports has started being felt. The Nairobi Securities Exchange yesterday suffered its biggest single-day loss in over a year as US President Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs continued to batter global markets. Roadworks to resume after state clears contractors' debt. That's hundreds of road contractors are expected to resume work this week after the government received 63 billion shillings to pay pending bills, unlocking an impasse that stalled more than 580 projects. So do expect the tractors and other machinery to roll back into action. That's Matters Business on the Business Daily.
Taifa Leo, kura za mapanga, uchaguzi wa mashinani wa ODM wakumbwa na ghasia na majeraha kiasi cha manusura kupoteza mikono. Wanasema kwamba umwagikaji wa damu washuhudiwa katika uchaguzi wa ODM eneo la Homa Bay baada ya wafuasi wawili kukatwa mikono katika vurugu. Wafuasi wengine wawili wafa ajalini. Very sad news there. Yes. Other stories here. Hatukupata ripoti Rigathi angefika kanisani, DCI imesema, na idara ya ujasusi yasema kanisa la PCEM wiki halikuiarifu Gachagua angehudhuria. Okay, interesting. Lakini sasa lazima waarifiwe ndio chaos isikuwepo.
DCI.
Magaidi waachilia machifu 5 Mandera. Maafisa wa serikali wanaoaminika kutekwa nyara na Al-Shabaab Mandera hatimaye wako huru 4 months later. Mali ya Kuria sasa kunadiwa. Mshauri wa rais kuhusu uchumi apoteza kesi dhidi ya benki ya Equity kuhusu mkopo around 54 million thereabout. On the top strip, maagizo ya polisi aliyeua watoto wake wawili na kujiua amshauri mkewe aolewe kwa mpango wake wa kando. Arsenal versus Real Madrid, nani atawika? Gunners wana kazi ngumu ya kuwazima mabingwa watetezi Bayern wakiwaalika Inter Milan. Taifa Leo.
Tuangazie gazeti la Daily Nation ambalo pia lina habari kama ile sawia na ile ya Standard. Gachagua's fight back, they call it. You are a liar. I know someone sang this song. You are a liar. A liar. Impeached Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua yesterday launched a bare-knuckle push-back against President William Ruto's claims that he demanded 10 billion shillings to market the government's agenda in the Mount Kenya region. Instead, he made a raft of fresh allegations against his former boss, including that he has secret recordings of a 2 billion shilling retirement package offered to him in exchange for his resignation ahead of his impeachment. Hizi pesa zina ni kama tuelewe billion ni pesa ngapi. Jamaa tu wanakuja nakwambia tutakupatia 2 billion.
2 billion.
2 billion upotee na wewe unaenda unasema mimi nataka 10 billion.
So here we want to borrow like millions.
Yes. Now this comes hot on the heels of that the same kind of criticism from the former CS for Public Service. Alisema hapa kuna mambo mingi alisema huyu jamaa is irredeemably corrupt and unfit to hold the office. So this face-off former DP accuses Ruto of being a master of doublespeak. You can read more on this story on pages 4 and 5 of this paper. Other highlights: Kuria's bid to stop property auction flops. And I think you should pay attention to this one. Do you have a persistent flu? I'm already suffering from one. Watch out for outbreak of influenza A. They say a troubling health crisis is quietly sweeping across the country, with hundreds battling an antibiotic-resistant strain of influenza A, meaning haisikii dawa. This is according to health experts. You can read more on this on page 8. Pale juu, massacre or not, governor unveils monument for 40 killed in Turkana. And as far as the National Drum and Film Festival is concerned, 63rd edition opens to a great start at Melvin Jones Lions Junior School and, of course, the big Menengai High School, my alma mater. Nakuru pale, a lot of stories on page 3 to do with the drama festival. All right, tumemaliza gazeti kweli? Yes. So we're done with the local dailies. Let's take a look at the cartoons, and we start off, of course, with the Daily Nation. Matters US tariffs. And Donald Trump is portrayed there on a ladder, placing the lock. Ukitaka kufungua hii mlango, ametoa hii lock hapa akaiweka kule juu. Tariffs. Yeah. Now he is